Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of FPL Journey to 10K, the podcast and series that is designed to help you think like a top 10K finishing manager. And how do we do that? Yeah, of course, we're going to talk to you about the stats, the facts, the figures, the fixtures, but it is rarely that secret weapon in our back pocket that is going to get us there. I'm, of course, talking about my co host, Mr. Matt Corbs, going into this season, the top 5 player in the world. Average finish is 6,500. Who's going to get? And of course, all round nice guy. Matt, how's your week been?
Thanks for that little add-on at the end. Appreciate it, mate.
Important
Yeah,
part.
good. It's we're recording this Thursday night now, aren't we? So it feels a little bit out of sync compared to our normal Tuesday one. So yeah, we'll have to kind of put those memory gears into work. Really, I've forgotten about last game week, to be honest. But I think it was a good one for both of us, which is cool.
It was.
But probably actually got some more info going into the weekend, right? We've got a couple of European games have been played already. There's some happening right at this moment. I can see you representing Liverpool there. I don't know if you got the game on.
To wear it, didn't I? I had to wear it when we're on the screen. Wrong side. There it is. I had to wear it.
Have you got the game on in the background or?
No, I thought that'd be a bit too unprofessional. So I'll keep my eye on it. If you see me doing this, I'm looking at the score.
Yeah, I think that's probably that's probably a route into getting our channel cancelled, isn't it, for copyright infringement as well. If you've got the
just put TNT up against the camera so everybody can watch.
But yeah, good game week for me. Good game week for you, on the weekend, and yeah, an interesting one going into game week 10 as well. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Been some stuff that's happened midweek. There's been some interesting press conference updates from managers. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one, and going into it with 2 free transfers. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you say, a couple of things in the week that happened. Isaac injured, Jesus injured. Obviously gives a chance up for a potential Arsenal cheaper option, which I'm sure we'll come on to, like the likes of Nketiah. Maybe Wilson is therefore going to start. So a couple of injuries midweek, still chances. Obviously, West Ham played today, Liverpool played today, Villa played today. So potentially some other things to keep an eye on there. But yeah, let's jump in. We've already kind of touched on it in terms of how our week went, but there it is, game week 9. Feel free to kick us off.
Yeah, well, you beat me. That's a surprise. So yeah,
just scraped it.
Yeah, I mean the difference there was you getting Pedro Porro right, and Doggy getting a slight knock or whatnot, discomfort, and coming off in 54, 55, 56 minutes, something like that. So yeah. that was a bit frustrating. But yeah, you got Pedro Porro for the nailed minutes, didn't you?
To be honest, it was the attacker returns. He just had slightly better attacker returns than Udogie. So I was like, and I had 0.2 million in the bank. So
definitely,
I went for that reason.
I think he was the one that was is the rotation threat when he with Emerson. But you can't really plan a injury. But yeah, 88 points is good. A game week rank of 1.1 mil. Big green arrow, so up to 2.58 million overall. So still pretty bad, but it's progress from near enough 4 mil. So yeah, decent team. So Areola, Doggy, Blanks, Burn, and Cash. Burn got his clean sheet, which is quite good. Trippier, I think, continues to be a menace for non-owners. It was kind of crazy that he came out with, in such a high-scoring game, he came out with 1 assist and a clean sheet. And he came out with 2, and he got a yellow card, and then he got 2 bonus points. But he really is a bonus point magnet. But Burn get clean sheet is good. Gordon got a goal, so he got 8 points. So happy with that. I feel he could have got more. Actually, he was very involved. He had a few chances that were kind of near misses. Son scored well. Salah scored well as well. And I think the people who've got better scores than us, it was really because they captained Salah over Haaland. Maddison got his return. Darwin came on, but he was a menace for the 25 minutes he came on, and he got an assist. So happy with that. Haaland captaincy 16, and Watkins with 11. So yeah, decent. It looked like a promising lineup going in, and yeah, decent returns all round really. So yeah, quite happy with that. Quite happy.
Yeah. That's it. You got to start somewhere, Matt. You know, that's a 1.3 million jump. If you do that again next week, you're nearly at the million mark. The comeback is on, shall we say? Yeah, managed to beat you by a point. It was purely down to Pedro Porro in the end, but a game week rank of 950,000. So the difference is, keepers both got 1 point. You had Areola in. I benched him. Went for Turner. I thought at home to Luton he might get a clean sheet. And first half looked good. Second half not so good. Conceded twice. Burn as well with the clean sheet. Pedro Porro got the clean sheet. I did give a little fist pump when Udogie went off after 55 minutes. I was like, they best keep a clean sheet. Get me some points. Romero's an interesting one. Every time the Spurs keep a clean sheet, he's getting 2 bonus points minimum. So not that I'm going to do that change, but he's an interesting one. On Trippier, by the way, you mentioned Trippier got the assist, 2 bonus points despite the booking. Did you see the assist?
No. Was it a good one? Was it a bit of a nothing, a little pass into nothing?
He gave the ball to Jacob Murphy, and Jacob Murphy decided he's just going to score an absolute screamer. Trippier picked up the assist, so it was one of them. So I think I texted you like this fucking whatever, just picking up the assist for nothing. Going into the mids, three the same as you. My difference, instead of Gordon, I had Gibbs White. I was full of hope going into the Luton game, but really didn't come down to anything. And just to rub salt in the wounds, he decided to get himself booked. Safe to say he's very much on my exit list. Fixtures that he's not done anything for me, and the fixtures are turning. And then up top, instead of Darwin, I've got Solanke. Now he did get a goal, bonus points, so he got 7. Quite happy with that. But yeah, grand total of 89 takes me on a green arrow from the 2.4 million mark to 1.5 million. So back on the climb. Hopefully it continues.
Yeah, looking good now.
Yeah, I'm fairly happy with it. Yeah, I say this every week. I was about 2 million until the World Cup last season, so to be at 1.5 million, hopefully that continues. But I'm looking at the leagues and I'm maybe 30, 40 points off the top, but the person at the top's like 200,000. So I still think it's quite close together.
Yeah.
So maybe we're not as far back as we think we are. And obviously the league that we're both in, the person who's top of that league is very vocal about it. I hope we both beat him. I really do. But yeah, talking about
that's a chance for a bit of a wager, a bit of a bet. Like talking a good game. Like I'm kind of confident because we've looked at this season actually, and like not to feel bitter, but there's been like big swings in luck, right? And like often kind of sensible play based on the information that you had at the time of making a decision hasn't really been rewarded, right? So I think that mini leagues are like really skewed at the moment, but it's looking good. I mean, yeah, this kind of game week kind of moving forward, game week kind of like 10 onwards we'll probably talk about the fixtures anyway, but there's like some kind of quite swings between different teams as well. So there's decisions to be made, but hopefully we're on a good trajectory. I like your second point here, like Haaland captaincy. Is it a set and forget? So some people were brave, right, on a game week 8 wild card and went without Haaland, which was a valid option. Do you know what I mean? I think we've been talking about it in and around game week 8 and kind of before. It's hard to say. So obviously there was a lot of logic going to make that decision. Why it looks so good is because Salah's had 2 penalties in 2 games, and he was the kind of like option that people would have captained. So, and Haaland didn't have kind of penalties. So these penalties, these kind of like random things, right? So it looks promising at the moment, but like the output it's just been really skewed and exaggerated by those penalties. So we'll see. I think that the more concerning thing about Man City, and we'll see if Rodri back makes a difference here, is their expected team goals. So the expected goals at team level the last couple of games has been really poor. It's been like 1 goal or less. Like so, that'd be considered that continues, right? But that's kind of too early to say whether like going without Haaland was a good option. It's looking promising at the moment, but it's the Haaland, it's the Salah captaincy alternative and the penalties that he got, that's kind of made it look so good. So like, you can't read too much into that right now.
What are your thoughts with him? Because it used to be, who's your captain? Haaland. Regardless of who he's playing, Haaland's your captain, especially last season. So are you, even though you've still got Haaland in your team, are you very much now considering not giving him the armband? I know we both did this week. We probably won't for game week 10, but
I think, as always, it was always this as well. I think people do jump to like sensational narratives, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, season keeper, there's no player you keep the whole season ever. Set and forget captain, that's never the case. It's always like team and fixture dependent, right? So Haaland is going to be a captaincy a lot of weeks, I think, but it's fixture dependent. This week, spoiler, I think there's other players that are like really good with better fixtures, right? So yeah, I don't think he would ever really set and forget. It's all fixture dependent. So yeah,
keep on with that. And then the third point, the basic point there is there's too many players to fit in, because every single one of them, the big owned players, they all got at least an assist or at least a goal. I mean, how on earth do you fit them all in? Well, you can't. I mean, there's no way you can. But it's just an interesting point, because you mentioned it last week. You can't fit them all in. So when you're looking at this, right, that list of players, I'm pretty sure you'd be happy with every single one of them in your squad, but you can't get them all in your squad. So what kind of differentiates between, having an Alvarez or a Saka or a Bowen? Like, what do you focus on more? Is price, fixtures, form? Where are you looking?
I think you can get all of them bar one into a wildcard team. Right, so there's some good budget enablers, right? So if you go 5 in midfield, I think you can realistically start Gordon most games. But honestly, I think like, let's ignore price points. I think Gordon is kind of looking really good. Expected goal involvement of over 0.5 per 90. He looks like Newcastle's best player, right? Murphy's now injured as well, so that means that there's another kind of wing spot that it means that he's probably more nailed again. So like, there's people like Gordon, there's people like Neto, and like Neto, he doesn't play for as good a team, but he's getting very consistent returns. I think he's returned every single game this season, right? Like, obviously it's not big hauls, but he's chipping away. You got Palmer as well in Chelsea, right? So there's good midfielder enablers that you could play every game week. So you could get 2 of them as cheapies. You could kind of like have a bench full of striker in forget his name, the Sheffield United kind of started, right?
Archer.
Archer can get you like 2 points. I reckon you can fit all those players in if you're on wildcard bar one, and the one you would drop there is probably Alvarez, just because of Man City kind of fixtures. And like, I'm going to keep pushing this. Like, he's incredibly lucky. If you look at his underlying stats, like, good player, but not. I don't think it's like sustainable. So I think you can have a good team with some of the enablers that have emerged. Kind of like pretty well. So you can have most of them, but like, of course, like, you can't have them all, and you just got to accept and get comfortable with that. Some people obsess over a certain player, just be confident that if you've got other good players kind of like elsewhere, it's going to even itself out. There's lots of ways to score points, as we were talking about Haaland-less teams. Like, they've that was obviously probably pretty scary, but they've probably come out looking good the last couple of weeks. So yeah, it's all good. But what do I look at was your question, wasn't it? You weren't asking that. How do you fit them all? And you were asking, what do I look at? I look at upcoming fixtures, I think. So that kind of predict if you look coming up. I look at expected minutes. Are they nailed? Do I think there's going to be a rotation risk? I look at fixture congestion, that feeds into the expected minutes. Then I look at individual underlying stats and then team stats as well.
Yeah.
So what I won't look at is just points. I don't think that's got massive predictive power, right? I think the underlying stats has got more predictive power, and then looking at the fixtures, looking at where the team is at this given time. So I think all those names, Son, Salah, great. Maddison, great. Saka, great. Bowen, great. Alvarez is not so great based on both fixtures and underlying stats. Haaland's looking a little bit iffy the last couple of ones, but great stats for the season overall. Trippier and Watkins, yeah, they're looking good as well. I mean, Trippier and Watkins as well. I can say this as a Watkins owner. They're getting they're outperforming underlying stats, right? So maybe it's not sustainable, the returns they're getting. So yeah, that's kind of what I look at. But yeah, the big one is don't look at points scored so far.
Yeah, with you. Well, fixtures you mentioned is something you look at. Well, there comes the fixture ticker. Great timing. Now, usually I put 10 teams on just to show you the best 10. There's a reason I've shown all 20. And for those of you on YouTube here, I'm sorry that this is quite a small screen, but hopefully you can see it. Spoiler for questions for Matt. There's a lot of talk in the community and a lot of questions getting fired your way about selling Spurs assets for Arsenal assets, despite Spurs being top of the league. Now, the reason I've thrown this in is if you look on the left table, that is from Fantasy Football Fix, that is the attacking fixture ticker for the next 5 game weeks. Spurs are 19th on that list. Arsenal are 4th. So I can kind of get why people are looking to sell Spurs attackers for Arsenal attackers. From a defence point of view, Spurs are 11th, Arsenal are 2nd. So you kind of toyed with it last week where you were talking about selling potentially even Son for a Saka. Is this what you've looked at to come to that conclusion?
Yeah, a bit of this, but other tickers as well. But yeah, you look at the medium term fixtures, and that gives you an indication of what teams you jump on, what teams you jump off, and the one that screams out here from an attacking point of view is but there's some bad teams that are better on the ticker, like the kind of irrelevant, like Palace, Burnley, Sheffield United. You're not going to go in there, but attacking point of view, Arsenal, West Ham, Villa, Brighton, Liverpool to a lesser extent, they kind of really stand out. Defence is similar teams: West Ham, Arsenal, kind of Brighton, Villa. So those are the ones that are looking good, and the ones that are well owned potentially want to jump off would be attacking point of view near the bottom there: Spurs, Chelsea, Manchester United. I'm surprised that Newcastle will be in there, but you got to think of it's not weighted to how good the teams are as well, right? So you got to keep in that mind. Yeah, like the defense. I don't know. There's many highly owned defenders in those lower teams. You got Chelsea, Fulham, Forest right at the bottom of that ticket from a defensive point of view. So yeah, we spoke about it before, but jumping from Spurs to Arsenal could be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the I know a lot of people have targeted this game week for wildcards is how heavy they'll be on Arsenal. I suspect they'll go for the 3 Arsenal players based on these tickers, but also who from Spurs they're kind of they keep. So yeah, these tickers give us an indication of who we should be jumping on.
Well, thinking along the lines of which Spurs asset to keep, I've made this table. So this is looking at the players since game week 3. Now, the reason I've done it since game week 3 is when Son got moved into the middle. That seems to be what they're going for, pretty much every game week since. Son in the middle. If Richarlison's played, he's been playing on the left, Maddison behind Son. So if you're looking at your Spurs players, and I appreciate you were last week looking at potentially selling Son, I think you're potentially looking at you've got Udogie, who you might end up getting rid of. These are the stats that they've had since game week 3. So, from a predicted points point of view, Son's ahead. I don't know why I've got 2 brackets there. There should only be one. He's got 62 points, not 68. I don't know where that's come from. That's my mistake. But he's outperforming by 13 points. Maddison's only outperforming by 4. But I look at that, and although he's outperforming, Son season in, season out, outperforms his stats.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a constant area of debate when I say there's a pretty bang average player that's outperforming. People are like, oh no, great finishers do it, but they don't do it to a massive extent. But Son outperforms his stats by 20-25% every year. So there's enough evidence to say that he's very clinical, right? So yeah, that's in line with what you'd expect for kind of Son. It's not like he's got expected points of 50 and he scored 100, right? You got expected points of 50 here and he scored 62, right? So that's within the realms of kind of reality and what you'd expect. I think what's notable here as well, because we've seen how influential it is when we're just talking about Salah, is Spurs. I don't think have had a penalty yet.
Yeah,
and everything points towards Son having it for sure, unless he gets becomes a bit of like Saka and wants to be very generous. But he's the captain, he's the striker, he's their best player. I think he'll take penalties, right? So yeah, these numbers might be underrepresenting his potential impact because there's no pens, and we know Arsenal have had multiple pens. They've had loads, right? Saka's decided to hand over half of them, but they've had loads. Man City have had penalties, Liverpool have had penalties, right? So yeah, that kind of stands out. There's a bit of an unknown. So these numbers might be looking a bit lower. But yeah, I mean, Maddison and Son are looking really good. Son obviously really good. So that's a really nice return, right? In what, 6 game weeks?
6 game weeks.
6 game weeks, getting 50 points. It's kind of like really, really good. And you got your defenders there. I mean, obviously you're viewing this from an attacking point of view. Obviously, Porro is
I've got the clean sheet there for the defenders as well, and their expected points just for that reason. So I mean, Porro's got 1 extra clean sheet. That was the week just gone, just purely because Udogie got that knock in the first half. But Udogie has more bonus points, so that to me suggests if they do keep a clean sheet, Udogie's probably more involved from a defense point of view to get that extra bonus.
Yeah, no, makes sense. They're much alike. Do you know what I mean? Udogie and kind of like Udogie and kind of like Porro. Porro more attacking threat. Udogie more involved in build up, I'm guessing, and kind of clearances to get that underlying bonus point. So you can kind of view them as pretty similar, really. But no, I mean, yeah, they're all looking like quite good assets based on those stats that you've got there. I'm not seeing any red flags. I've seen a lot to like.
Here's the question then. So their fixture ticker, their attackers, the 19th over the next 5 game weeks. To put you on the spot, you have got Son and Maddison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now I can sell rough figures because I appreciate everybody's team would be different depending on when they bought them. I can sell Son for 9.3 million. I can sell Maddison for 8 million.
Yeah.
Who are you selling?
Maddison.
Well,
it depends on who you're getting and all that sort of stuff. But like, yeah, kind of blanket looking at them, Maddison. Yeah, I mean that's quite easy. I like that you put the stats since game week 3 because it is a big change in position and that kind of impact there. So yeah, I think both are good. But yeah, if you're comparing them, ignoring price point, if you're just comparing like for like, yeah, you'd want to be selling Maddison rather than Son.
Keep Son. And then for the odd, I know some, like my wife, for example, has Udogie and Porro. If you have to sell one of your defenders, who are you selling?
Depends on the price point you built, but I kind of like bought because Udogie, some people got him at 4.5, right? So you got him cheap, I'd be keeping him. If you got both of them and you got them for similar prices, Udogie is a doubt for this week and then maybe a doubt moving forward. So yeah, you sell Udogie over Porro.
Okay.
Ignoring price point.
So sell if this is your route. Out of the 2, sell Maddison. From a defender point of view, sell Udogie. Okay, so you sell them. Who are you buying? Put together a table. So this is the big players that I think most people will be looking to target based on the fixture swings. So you've already mentioned Arsenal, West Ham, Brighton, Villa, top of both the attacking and defensive tickers.
Yeah.
So I've picked out probably the best players for each of them. I put Martinelli in there because obviously he's just come back. He got a goal against City. He got a goal in Europe against Sevilla. Unfortunately for him, Jesus is now out, and generally, we've spoke about this before. Martinelli generally performs better with Jesus in the team. You only have to ask me for the first 4 game weeks I owed him this season about how little he does without Jesus in the team. So he might be straight off this list. But looking across it, if you're selling Maddison, you're selling Son. Where are you looking and why?
Yeah, Martinelli, I agree. If Jesus was fit, he'd be an interesting move from Maddison. Martinelli's stats this year, when he has played, I know he's been injured, but when he has played, have been pretty poor. Like obviously the stats that you've got here, like they talk about absolute numbers, but if you put them to per 90 numbers as well, they'd be pretty poor as well. Jesus, we know, is like the one that unlocks him. But if he's got Nketiah or Havertz or Trossard there, like I think you want to see him get some good underlying stats for a few games. So I would discount Martinelli. Saka's the standout, right? We can see that. So if you could go Maddison to Saka, would I do that? Yeah, without a doubt. For my own team, I don't have that luxury. So for me, it would have to be a Son to Saka move, which I think it's a bit of a tougher one to decide on. Ødegaard, I think. What to think there? I think his
same price, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd go Saka, kind of like the same price. I think with Ødegaard, he's had two big hauls when he received the penalty from Saka, where he's got maximum bonus points because of that.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to say. Yeah, without those two pens, like Ødegaard wouldn't look as good here. I'd go Saka over Ødegaard. I think obviously a bit of elephant in the room is Saka. Is he still got an underlying knock? I guess the same applies for Son as well, right? But there's a lot of more fixture congestion with Champions League and a lot of other big games for kind of Arsenal as well. But Maddison to Saka, I like that move. Of the other players that you've got listed there, Bowen, Mitoma, Diaby. Honestly, I know I'm saying it because I've got him, but I think Gordon should be considered in that kind of bracket as well. I know these guys got better fixtures. I think that's the order in terms of where I'd be rating them. Bowen, Mitoma, then Diaby in that order. That's kind of what the kind of stats suggest as well. I mean, of all these players, I'd say the order I'd rank them at the moment myself would be Saka at the top by some margin, and like the stats and output can back that. Then I'd say Bowen.
Yeah.
Then Mitoma based on price point over Ødegaard because of his the big difference in price. Then Ødegaard. Then Martinelli and Diaby. I'd rank them below some of these some of the other ones. I guess a big dilemma for me. Will I go direct from Son to Saka, and also do I want to enable another move because I've got 2 free transfers that will allow me to Maddison to Saka? I don't see a nice clean route to do that, but I do have some options that I could consider.
Yeah, you might be getting asked a question like this on the extended questions for Matt about Son to Saka and whether it's worth it. So be prepared to answer that one in probably about 20 minutes time or something. So Saka's number one. Yeah, I mean, I'm you look at those stats: expected goals higher than Ødegaard, actual goals better than Ødegaard, expected assists higher than Ødegaard, actual assists better than Ødegaard. Expected points better than Ødegaard, yet they're both 8.5. He's got more bonus points. People have asked Saka or my cousin asked Saka or Ødegaard. I mean, there's only one answer. It's Saka.
Yeah,
as the stats are there. Hopefully, he'll take the pen. We'll see if they get one.
Ødegaard's an expected goal for a penalty is 0.8, I think. Right, so Ødegaard's expected goals for the season is 2.55. If you take 1.6 off that, he's got less than one expected goal. Do you know what I mean? So
9 games. Saka took 2 pens or just one?
Two.
Took one against Tottenham, didn't he? And scored it.
And he took one against Bournemouth, didn't he? When Saka gave one, that was really annoying. But whatever. We won't dwell on it too much. But he gave one to Havertz and he gave one to Ødegaard.
Yeah. I think we both had him. That was painful. But yeah, I'm glad that Bowen's your second, because in the long term, which we'll come on to when we talk about game week 10 plan, and Bowen's very much on my radar. And I was thinking about what you were saying last week about you can't have them all. I think Mitoma is the one that I probably can't get off this list, which is a shame, but I'd rather have Bowen, I'd rather have Saka, I'd rather have Salah, I'd rather have Son. So I'll deal without him.
Yeah, but Bowen, I'm kind of, I do have routes to get to him actually, and like looking at Spurs long-term fixtures. I mean, I could do a Maddison downgrade to Bowen like in a couple of weeks if I wanted. But yeah, I like Bowen a lot. Like I'd love to have him in my team the upcoming weeks.
Even this week, Everton. We've always said it. Everton are better than their points suggest. But he's got Everton, then he's got Brentford away, then the nice fixtures kick in. So game week 12 as the target.
Yeah, for me that's kind of key, right? It's actually like Everton is they're good. They're a top 10 team based on underlying stats, which will matter over like long term, right? And then Brentford away isn't the easiest. So I reckon like for me, that's reassuring. I can maybe wait 2 weeks or whatnot. But if I do want to switch, kind of jump on that move? But yeah, he could be. Yeah, for me, talking out loud, he could be a. We'll see how things like go the next couple of weeks, but he could be a Maddison alternative for me.
Yeah, see that. Can see that. Well, if you do some transfers, where you've already just touched on the lack of Haaland this week. Now, is this point prediction? Sorry, I've jumped a screen. I'm looking at Captain on the next one. This is still talking about who to buy. So this was just the points over the next 5 game weeks. So if you do sell a Maddison or a Son, what is interesting on this is the top 11 players. I've made it 11 because Matoma's come in at 11th.
Yep.
Maddison's not on it. So those players we're talking about who we might get in instead, so a potential Matoma, a Martinelli, a Bowen, an Odegaard, a Saka, according to Fantasy Football Fix's point predictions, will all outscore him. Now, Son is on it. Son is 8th. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not surprised. Like this is where you can like differentiate yourself as a better manager, right? Because people scored points, especially when they scored points in the last game, will just hold on to players, right? Because they've scored points already. I'm going to keep holding on because I like them. They've scored some points, great, but like really, it's all about forecasting, right? So yeah, we've seen the fixtures aren't great, the upcoming ones. This weekend, no. It's hard to put your thing on the pulse whether Palace is a good defense or bad, right? I mean, I'd say they're a good defense, but then since Eze has been out, it looks like they've just like gone awful. Like they were very bad against kind of like Brentford at the weekend where they conceded 3, was it? 4 or 3? They conceded a lot against like an okay team. So Son is Son, right? Of course. So like, I'm not surprised that he's on there. It's the same that you always see Salah and Haaland on these lists because they're just kind of great players with great stats. Maddison, like, it's a brave move, right? Because he's done well, but it's definitely a good option, I think.
Yeah. And that's to point out you kind of how you listed them. You said Saka first, Bowen second. That's pretty much what this says. Saka first with 29, apparently up to predicted 29.5 over the next 5 weeks. Bowen in at 25. Son only in at 23. I say only in at 23.9. Not much behind Bowen, but yeah, obviously Maddison nowhere to be seen. So your thoughts match the predictions of Fix.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this as well because it's kind of interesting because my dilemma is Son to Saka. Do I want to do that? And I'm hesitant for obvious reasons, right? But the next 2 game weeks, this game week, of course, he's playing Sheffield United, the worst team in the top leagues in Europe, 7.8 predicted points. Game week 11, he's playing Newcastle, like one of the toughest defences. So, with the 2 game weeks, that's 11.8 predicted points. So that's nice. That's looking good. But then over the next 2, Son this game week is Palace. He's got 4.6 expected kind of points, and then he's got 5.1 when he's playing Chelsea in game week 11, right? So that's what 9.7. So there's a difference there. But over 2 game weeks, it's not a huge
2
difference.
points.
Do you know what I mean? And typically, you can view a transfer as because when you take a hit, it's worth 4 points, right? So any transfer, even a free transfer, is worth 4 points. So that, have that in your mind as well when you're making these. This is what I'm thinking: is it genuinely worth it at this point? But it's a difficult one. But it was Maddison. I think is to Saka, which I think you might be able to do. It does seem like a very nice move. I'd definitely do that if I had the funds.
Well, that's good to know, and we will discuss. Interesting. I bet you don't know what's coming up next. This captaincy pick. I might give the game away on the last slide, thinking that this was the one that was coming up. But we touched on Haaland not being the set and forget he is. Now he is on this list of the Fantasy Football Fix potential highest scorer in game week 10. He comes in, is that sixth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth with 5.8. But then you've got Saka ahead of him, Salah ahead of him, Watkins ahead of him. I think they're probably going to be the big three this game week. Who are you looking at and why?
Salah, yeah. I think, Salah. Yeah. Salah, yeah. Might have to look into look into it a bit more deeper. Like he's playing Forest at home, but to think of how deep have Forest defended in like away games and whatnot. But like on the face of it, yeah, I'll be going like Nunes has got a goal.
Was he? I wasn't looking. I was looking at the expected goals against Forest. That's what I was looking at.
But yeah, like Nunes, like I mean, they got a great connection, right? Like when you went like Salah and Nunes, like the Salah doesn't have with the other attackers, right? So yeah, you're right on cue, right? Because like he's predicted to have a goal involvement every 30 minutes. And he's scored right on cue. But like yeah, Salah, I'm looking at Salah, of course. I mean, Saka, he chips away, didn't he? Like Saka, without looking at too much detail, he very rarely calls. He very rarely gets like 2 goals and an assist, right? Or like a goal and 2 assists. He'll get like an assist. He'll chip in with a goal, and he'll do well for like bonus point. But like historically, I don't think he's like hawked, and I just feel it's a bit more. I'm contradicting myself now, but I think he's just a bit more like sporadic. Yeah, I mean, like Salah is just a lot more trustworthy, isn't he? Really. So when the predicted points difference here is 0.2 difference between the two, I reckon the certainty with Salah. I'd be going there.
Are you not considering Watkins at all? Is he just he's a
Watkins is random as well. Watkins is a very good player. We said at the beginning of the year because we both started with Watkins, didn't we? And we kind of regret moving to what's his name?
Jackson. Yeah.
Jackson, yeah. Well, there's reasons for that. Like underlying stats that said that Watkins is really overperforming. So, like we say, I don't care about points. Yeah. So, like his stats are good. They're very, very good. Like, so I'm looking at. I've just gone on to FPL. So per 90, his expected goal involvements is 0.54. So he's an Anthony. Yeah. He's an Anthony Gordon. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so that's good.
Yeah.
But he's not. Like Salah's will be 0.8, right? Like per 90. Like, what did he do on the weekend? So on the weekend, what did he do? He scored 11 points, a goal and an assist. Expected goal involvement was 0.64. He kind of like one doubly outperformed it. So I feel like he's a set and forget because he kind of does outperform stats and like he can kind of get returns, but I'm not certain on that.
Well, just to tell you the goals piece. So the expected goals against. So Arsenal, as you say, they're at home to Sheffield United. Their expected goals conceded this season is 22.8 in 9 games, by the way. 22.8. Salah's got Forest. Forest is 12.9. So a much better defence. And then Luton, which is who Watkins is playing at home, 20.15.
Yeah.
So Salah's playing the much better defence out of the 3. Does that matter, or do you think it's Salah? He's that good?
That's food for thought. I mean, I'll have to look at it more. There's enough for a debate. I think what you got to weight in is who is the best attack out of those 3 teams.
Yeah.
I would say that's Liverpool. At this point in time, but yeah, it's worth a debate. I mean, like. I may not be able to get a Saka in. You probably will, and I think you should bring him in. Like, are you going to captain him?
I'm going to captain Salah.
penalties makes a massive difference, doesn't it? Like the lottery of points, like adding that certainty of someone who's a penalty taker does make a hell of a difference. And now Watkins isn't on them. Like he'd be flying if he had them. Like, I know he's given them to. I mean, I think I was considering Douglas Luiz on the wild card. I don't regret getting Gordon over him, but like, yeah, he'd be flying if he was on penalties. But like, yeah, Saka, he's got that doubt, doesn't he? Is he actually on them, or is it just kind of rotating? So it does make hell of a difference. It's always tough when you're not picking penalty taker.
Yeah, I like. So Liverpool obviously are playing today, but Salah's not playing. He's getting a rest. Whereas Saka's obviously played away in Spain midweek. I just think there's always. I know he played Tuesday, but just think there's something in maybe Salah with some fresh legs at Anfield. I don't know. And he's guaranteed if we get a pen, he will take the pen, guaranteed. He's not going to pass it to Nunes. As much as Salah's a nice guy, he's greedy for goals, so he's sharing them with nobody. I think I've only ever seen him once in his Liverpool career give somebody else the pen, and that was Bobby Firmino because he was on 2 goals and it was for a hat trick. Otherwise, Salah takes the pen.
Nunes actually never missed a career penalty, I believe. I saw that stat. So long term, it'll be his. But yeah, we'll keep pushing the Nunes kind of prop, like, because I know we both like him as a player. But yeah, Salah will play 90 minutes when he's kind of on penalties. I mean, Saka, there's just a bit of a kind of concern. Is he injured still?
Yeah. Might come off early as a result. Yeah. The guaranteed minutes. That's what you taught me early doors in this game. Guaranteed minutes is where to go.
I haven't done that. Do you know what I mean? And then I bring in
Nunes.
Havertz, Nunes. Yeah. So that's what you think is kind of like, yeah, is your own predictions on minutes, isn't it? So I mean,
yeah. But it's one of the classic do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
But we'll move on to, so we will come on to what we are both doing. We've kind of teased it a little bit, but we will come on to what we're going to look to do this week with taking all these stats into account and our thoughts and our budgets.
Yeah.
But questions for Matt, you can ignore this screen. I forgot to update it, but we promised an extended version of questions with Matt, so I hope you've got your thinking brain on. There's quite a few questions to fire at you. Some are similar, so some will be a bit quicker than other, but we're going for rapid fire. This pre-warning, 10 questions, okay? As I say, some are similar, so they'll be okay for you. But question 1, this comes from Marco977X. His question is, and you've touched on this already, is Son to Saka the obvious, or would you consider downgrading Darwin or Watkins to a cheaper forward? I'm assuming that's then to take another midfielder up to Saka.
Maybe. Like, so is it obvious? No. Could it be a good move? Yes. Maddison to Saka isn't an obvious move, like, do you know what I mean? But like Son, I mean, there's enough difference in the stats, is kind of finishing and being on pens to kind of say, yeah, there's it'll be tight. And kind of, you alluded, I can get obviously Son costs more than Saka, so I can do that in one move. Maddison to Saka, I'd have to do it in 2. And so just who am I losing? Do I want to lose Watkins? No, because Villa got an awesome run. The models, right? So if I put this in a solver, an FPL review or something like that, like, and the models and algorithms, I bet they will kind of say, get rid of Nunes, downgrade him to bench fodder, and then with that, move him to Archer, and then you can kind of upgrade Maddison to kind of Saka. So that's kind of cool. That's cool. But then I'll just have the issue that I've got. It just mucks up my formation, right? Because I want to be starting those free strikers every kind of game week, and also having 2 free transfers is quite valuable. And then it's like you're using 2 free transfers to get rid of a decent player in Maddison, right? Get rid of a decent player in Darwin, and then bringing in just one very good player in Saka, right? For 2 free transfers. Is that the most optimal way of using it? I don't know. So I'm trending towards no on that move, but like it's a close thing. As you can see, like I'm rambling a bit, but there's dilemmas here.
I get it. Get it. And I've just realised you have all three of those players, so that's quite timely because you'll be considering similar things.
Yeah, I won't be
but
getting
no
rid
is
of
the answer.
Watkins.
There you go, Marco.
I won't be getting rid of Watkins, and we'll see what if Darwin Núñez gets. Oh, there's another goal. Has he scored again? João Pedro for Brighton, but if Núñez gets injured now, that'll be easy move, right? Do you know what I mean? If he hobbles off, if he gets his second goal now, comes off 60 minutes. Do you know what I mean? I'll be happy days. I'll keep him.
Keep them.
Yeah.
And then potentially go without Saka. We'll come on to that. There you go, Marco. It's not obvious. Number 2, YC Yang. Is Tsimikas a steal and therefore a must?
No.
There you
go. I'll say why. Right, he's 4.5 now.
Yeah.
You can get Newcastle defenders for around that price, right?
Yeah.
Clean sheets are king. Like Liverpool are not great defensively at the moment. I know they kept one at the weekend. Tsimikas also. Do we think he didn't play well, right? So there is the rotation risk with Joe Gomez, right? I mean, he's cheap enough that you can take the risk, right? But if you want him as a starting defender in your team all the time, there's better options, right? Burn is a better option. Do you know what I mean? Some of the other Newcastle defenders are kind of better options. Pau Torres could be a better option. So yeah, there's kind of people in that price bracket because he's not that cheap. If you're getting him purely for a cheap price point, just go down cheaper. Maguire is 4.2 and he'll play most games. Do you know what I mean? You can go down to 3.9 and get, or 4 million and get a Burnley defender that starts. So if you just need someone as bench fodder, go cheaper.
Yeah.
You don't want. I think there's enough doubts about him, and there's other alternatives that could be slightly better. I mean, speaking honestly, if I could go Udogie to Tsimikas and then Maddison to Saka, I'd probably do that. I'd take that. I'd be like happy days. I've been priced out. So depending on the moves you're looking to do, he can be a nice candidate. But I don't think he's necessarily a must-have at that price point. I mean, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think our defence is good enough. So I'm just brought it up now. So our expected goals conceded, 12.86. That's only 0.05 better than Nottingham Forest. Whereas Newcastle, 9.15. So Liverpool's defence is leaky, to say the least. That lack of DM, McAllister playing the role, it's not good enough. So I think we'll concede goals far more than, as you say, getting in a Dan Burn at 4.5 or a Gabriel at 4.7.
Yeah, exactly. These are the alternatives, right? So he's not he's not a 4 million defender, right? If you need him to play every game, stretch him to Gabriel or Burn is probably better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he's an enabler in a perfect way, right, and the price point works only at 4.5, then yeah, maybe. But as with a lot of these questions and answers, it depends. It's team dependent. Yeah. But in a broader sense, I think he's a good option, but there's alternatives that are probably better that aren't much more expensive. And Gomez, who knows if he plays instead, right? So there's the option for them to do that. The kind of Man City lineup from last year, right, where you've got the inverted fullback one side, go to a back three, and then you have Trent roaming. That thing is the drop from Robertson to Tsimikas is quite big, right? So he can't play the same role. I know some people because we live by fantasy. He got some assists before when he plays, right? So people think he's automatically a great player. He's not. You have a better view as a Liverpool fan. It's a huge downgrade from Robertson. It's not. I mean,
I do like Tsimikas, but he's not Andy Robertson. There's my light. He's not Andy Robertson, so it is a drop. It is, but he'll take. I suppose that from an assist point of view, he'll take some corners. Trent will take most, but he'll take some corners. But the free kicks, Robertson took a lot of the free kicks. Tsimikas probably won't take the free kicks. It'll be Trent. It'll be Salah. If they're putting it into the box, it'll be Trent. Robertson used to share them. I don't think Tsimikas will. So there's less attacking output, definitely.
Whose head is he putting on to? Who's Trent targeting?
Trent will target Nunes if he's on the pitch.
Yes.
Or he's got Van Dijk or Matip.
Yeah. Darwin, I'm near him.
Darwin would be the one. If Darwin's on the pitch, he'll be up there because he's a tall lad, isn't he? So he'll whack it on Darwin's head. But there you go, Wesley Young. Tsimikas, no. There's potentially better options at similar price points. At Giza, you've got both of these players. If you have to sell one, I'll ask you, if you have to keep one, Son or Watkins, who are you keeping? You got him thinking, Giza. Both. Both is the answer.
That's really tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Son has the better stats than he, and he's a better player. Watkins has got good stats and great fixtures. I think based on the fixtures and the alternatives, I'd probably edge towards Watkins.
Okay.
That's a tough one. Good question.
Okay. Yeah. It's a tough question, yeah, because selling Son never feels right. But there you go. So based on the fixtures, you'd go Watkins.
Yeah, and really as well, a lot of the cases you're looking at who's the alternatives, right? I don't think there's not a huge amount of striker options, right? Watkins is almost a must-have if you're going to have at least one striker playing. Midfield's, like as you showed before, there's a real diversity of options, right? You could have Bowen as an alternative. You could have Saka. You could have Ødegaard. You could have like half a dozen players looking quite good. You don't really have that up front.
Yeah. So it's more flexible.
Agree. Yeah.
Would you? Cage Paps, regular listener, throws in. He was listening last week, and you discussed mistakes that you think you've made. But he'd like to know, what mistakes have you avoided? So have you seen anything happen in the community, or you've seen something that's been popular that you've actually stayed away from for a reason and it's worked out?
Well, not a lot has worked for me this season. So I was trying to think if there'd been any bandwagons that
Diaby was a bandwagon straight off the bat. He got a goal and an assist in the first two games, and then he seemed to have dropped off dramatically since. I don't think he's scored a goal since game week 2, or game week 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm gonna come back to that one because I'm gonna have to look at some teams from previous weeks, and see.
Have a think on that one. Harkin J threw in 2 questions. We've answered one of them. Saka or Salah captain? The answer is Salah. But he also says, would you sell Son and Mbeumo for 2 Arsenal? Based on what you've discussed, I think selling Son, no. If you can get from Mbeumo to an Arsenal, maybe. That might be possible because of budget.
I mean, he proved again, didn't he? Like he's one of the top scoring midfielders in the game, just because he had a few quiet game weeks, being on penalties and being like an attacker and an attacking team is really good. So obviously he got his goal assist and max bonus against Burnley. The fixtures coming up for Mbeumo are Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal. Oh, good God, that's really bad. Yeah, I do that. I think that's bad. I think if you Ødegaard and Saka versus Son and Mbeumo, I think that's an upgrade. I think that is an upgrade.
Yeah. Do the Arsenal. FPL Woodsy has come in. We'll get to the end of them. Don't worry. But FPL Woodsy has come in. Would you break the bank for Watkins in terms of, would you take a 4-point hit to bring him in? Or would you focus your energy just on Arsenal transfers and not take the hit?
Yeah, I wouldn't take the hit. I wouldn't take it.
I'm getting this from you, Matt. Like the 4-point hits rarely don't float with you ever. So that's
I think to be honest, is if you look at like where the Hall of Fame type things, like the best managers is quite consistent, right? Because I think sometimes people remember, and like some people can get the FOMO because people do a hit and then it comes off and they're all over like Twitter, like saying how good the move was. You're really putting yourself at a disadvantage straight away, right? I mean, like the top manager in the game, like he is so conservative with his things. He's always kind of like picking good, consistent, long-term picks, and then rolling that free transfer wherever possible, and then like hits only double game weeks or big injuries, these sort of things. So I'm never a huge fan because like I mean, who are you going to be hitting Watkins like in for? I don't know. Let's do an example. You move in.
It's good question.
It depends. It depends where you're at. I mean, but like I'm not a fan of like kind of unnecessary hits. So I'd say no. Yeah.
And this is one of the big things you've taught me this season is that because with 9 game weeks in, I reckon I'd have took at least 3 hits by now. Usually in a usual season, I'm on 0. I'm on 0 this time. No hits. So keeping it on. FPL Matt W. He's come in with a Spurs to Arsenal. I think you've answered that one. If you can go Maddison to Saka, do it. If you can go Son to Saka, think about it. It's basically the answer there. Would you do Maddison to Martinelli out of interest?
No. I'd want to see. Oh, it's really hard, isn't it? It's really hard. Maybe on that one. Maybe that's kind of not very helpful. So the reason why I was hesitating is I think like for like Martinelli of last season, you'd be making that move. Obviously, he's been pretty poor this year. You know that, having experienced that.
Yeah.
And then like his main man to link up with Jesus is injured again. And Nketiah just is awful for Martinelli. So we knew Martinelli was playing up front and it was going to be Trossard on the wing or Trossard and Martinelli rotate, and that'd be really cool, right? Like you'd be like happy days. But I think it's Maddison's a sure thing. We know what we're getting from him at the moment, right? Which is kind of like really quite consistent output, very creative in that Spurs team. Martinelli, he's not looked great, does he?
No.
But is there like a whole potential against Sheffield United for Martinelli? Because he is the most direct attacker for Arsenal, right? When he's on it, so he could haul, right? So, I like the move. I think there's a bit of uncertainty around it, which is why I'm saying maybe.
Yeah,
a tough one, isn't it?
So ideally for Matt, then so FPL Matt, if you can go Maddison to Saka, do it. Otherwise, consider it carefully. So there you go. Joe Portal, it's a question for us both. So this question is questions for Matt and Dave. Bit of a different one, away from the FPL. He's asked, what's your favourite goal of all time?
Ooh. That's a big one. Robson Kanu against Belgium in the Euros.
Hell of a goal.
Little Cruyff turns have put like who are they? Vertonghen on his ass, like
Hell of a goal. And I suppose as a Wales fan, I can see why that's right up there.
Yeah. So I think Belgium obviously like lots of things there. Like kind of like the first big tournament for Wales in years against Belgium. I think we're probably the favourites for the tournament overall. I think they were like the world's best ranked team there. So big moment, hell of a goal. So I think I picked Robson Kanu in quarterfinals. That was when it was Portugal in the semis. So Robson Kanu against Belgium in what was that? Was that 2016?
Good question. Around there. I'm just saying yes. I don't know what the answer to, but around 2016. We'll go with that. So because you had England in your group in 2016, and it was that tournament because England and Wales got through it, right? So it must have been 2016.
Sturridge got a last-minute goal, and I think Wales, to be fair.
What a goal! What a goal! My favourite goal was Daniel Sturridge against Wales in the 2016 Euros. My favourite goal. No, there's a goal by. Do you remember Yusuf Safri that played for Norwich?
Okay.
You say you don't. Yeah, right. So I don't know why, and my mates who will hopefully be listening to this will be laughing because they'll know it. I was obsessed with this goal. Guy called Yusuf Safri takes the ball 40 yards out, knocks it in front of him, and he just absolutely twats it into the top corner. It is an unbelievable goal against Newcastle, and like the commentary is just like Safri. Oh my word, what a goal, Yusuf Safri! And I don't know why, it's just that goal. I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's not a Liverpool goal, but that's the one that comes to mind. Um, you'll have to YouTube that. You've got it up, haven't you? If you haven't, YouTube it. You'll see it. You'll see how special it is. But yeah, what's he bringing up that? What's he bringing up? Yusuf Safri versus Newcastle. Kyrie Irving, long-time listener, many-time caller. He's thrown in sell Haaland and get him back in 16, or do you think if you haven't sold him already, you've made your bed?
I think you made the. I'm gonna have a look at the fixtures, but I think the most difficult ones have been passed now to an extent, haven't they? So you can make the move.
He's got Tottenham. He's got Liverpool to come. He has got Bournemouth in game week 11 at home.
Well, I think that Bournemouth actually, like, I need to readjust my thinking on them. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. I think the worst teams are Bournemouth, from a defensive point of view. Sheffield United, of course, Luton and Bournemouth will be like sprinkling of Fulham and a few others around. Yeah, Bournemouth I thought were a solid team, but like they've changed this year for sure. That's why it's a bad time if you'll be moving him before United. They're average at defense. Do you know what I mean? They're not great, right? They're mid-table defense. Then you got Bournemouth at home. I think it's not the time to move him, in my opinion.
Yeah, with those two fixtures,
like
with you,
yeah, the time to do it, if you were going to do it, commit to it, was against Arsenal, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. Get you. So there you go. Keep hold. Weirdly, he also asked, "Would you buy Harry Maguire?" And I messaged back saying, "Why on earth would you buy Harry Maguire?" But you kind of mentioned before, he's a shout for you. 4.2 million United defense.
Yeah, well, they got quite a few injury problems in there, which is why now he's getting a run of games. So, off the top of my head, I don't know how severe the injuries and whatnot to the other defenders are, but if it's kind of medium term, he's not a bad option, right? Because he's 4.2, very, very cheap, right? And if he's playing every game, yeah, cool. Like nice little bench option. You can kind of come in for like rotating, like when the fixtures for United are better. I don't hate it at all.
There you go. There you go. Everybody, buy Harry Maguire. Matt Corbs told you to. Put words in your mouth. Put words in your mouth. But there is the extended version of questions for Matt. That was a solid 20 minutes of questions and answers.
But should we go back to the one I missed, which was like
oh yeah, good shout.
Other people that I missed. So
yeah,
I think some things have been mistakes, but have like come off. So I'm not going to kind of talk about those. But I think at the beginning of the year, João Pedro was a bandwagon, right? So I didn't go there because of minutes, and then the lack of like flexibility it allowed you to kind of move to other players. I think actually there were some injuries or some options emerged that mean it was quite easy to exit from João Pedro, but I think he was a terrible pick, right? Like given the amount of options that Brighton had, and like he's come back into the team now because there's been so many injuries. But I think he was such a minutes risk, and people like he took a penalty in pre-season, therefore he's the main striker. I think that was a really poor option, and the price point meant that it was very inflexible as well. So I think people got lucky. There was a few other options that emerged that kind of meant that there was a exit strategy then. But I think he was a bad pick, right, and came out and turned out to be a bad pick, right. So despite getting the goal in the first game week, so João Pedro managed to avoid him. Foden has been like a bandwagon at various different stages this year, right? Yeah. Alvarez has been the one rather than kind of Foden. So Foden's had points in some game weeks, do you know what I mean? But like I think there's maybe it was game week 2, game week 3, there was a big thing when De Bruyne was injured, right? Let's jump off Foden. So like Alvarez was the one now in hindsight that we needed to jump on. I think we kind of said that, right? We said that last season, Foden plays as a winger, competing with Mahrez. When De Bruyne wasn't playing, it was Alvarez who was playing as a 10, not Foden. Right? So we didn't predict he would do as well from a fantasy point of view, but we kind of said that. So I missed Foden. A lot of people were loved up on United defence, Onana. So he's had a few like random balls, but like I think for a 5 million keeper, he wouldn't great. I mean, I went Pickford, so I can't say him much. But
and then sold him when he got his clean sheet, like me.
No, exactly. And then, sometimes it's just like throughout we tried not to chase points, right? I mean, there was after Son scored against Burnley, there was a huge pressure to get in the next game, and then I think he kind of did the classic thing and kind of blanked. So I think there's a few things where it was like, okay, well, let's not just be kind of rash with the decision. So but a lot of the bandwagons they've kind of come off. Do you know what I mean? They have. So there's a few things that I'm kind of glad I didn't follow through, but there's I've picked the wrong ones this year. Jumped on the
only so far. Only so far. There are 27 game week. 29 game weeks left. So every chance for them to come good.
I'm glad as well. I'm glad I didn't hold on to Rashford last couple of game weeks, because I think that was one of the things people were thinking, I'm going to wildcard game week 10 rather than game week 8, and the team isn't. The template isn't hugely different. Bar rather than Spurs, you're heavy on Arsenal. It's kind of like very similar in look and feel, right? People kept that because they were expecting Bruno and Rashford to do well. Bruno's got a few kind of returns, but Rashford blanked again. So I'm glad I didn't kind of endure that pain even longer and hold on to Rashford longer than was needed.
Yeah. I don't think he's still to return. I know they've got some nice fixtures in the coming weeks, but it just doesn't seem on it, does he? But there you go. So sold Rashford at the right time.
He's just a bad player, I think. Beyond like a 4-month period, beginning of this year, mid of last year, he's just not great. He's just not great.
Oh, you're going to have so many England fans hating you right now. I don't know what you mean. He had like last season. Last season, he obviously had a stormer in terms of goals and assists. But you're right. There was like 2-3 seasons where when he first came onto the scene, everybody was on him. He was scoring, and then he went 2-3 years doing absolutely nothing, and then he's kind of come back the last season and a half.
It's not even a season and a half. There was good stats, do you know what I mean, in terms of goals scored, but it was literally from that post World Cup period to March.
I'm just going to load him up.
He's like playing as the best player in the league then in terms of the returns, but then back end of last season he drifted away a little bit, and then this season has been dreadful, right? So the
stats. So last season 17 goals. Season before that, 4. He scored 4 times. Season before that was 11. And then before that was 17 and 10 prior to that. So, the most he's got in a season, 17. But, as you say, 2 years ago, well, not last season, season before, 4 goals, 2 assists. So he's it's not uncommon for him to not play a good season.
Yeah, I feel a bit foolish going in with him for the price point, but it was kind of with the anticipation that the 3-month Rashford beginning of this year, that's what we would have seen, but it did make me a bit uneasy. So I think that's what I regret with going at the beginning of the year, but easy to say in hindsight, right?
Aye, doubling up, but he did it for the right reasons, which is what you've always taught me. But there you go. Questions with Matt until next time. Here we are with the new feature, which was the differentials, and we are discussing not this week because we've already picked our players, but potentially as of next week, we'll currently pick them under 15%. Might do under 5%. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see how we struggle to pick players. But looking at game week 9, so you went for Gibbs, White, and Jota. Jota ended up with 3 points, got the clean sheet point. and ended up with 3. Gibbs White ended up doing absolutely nothing and getting booked. So he ended up with 1. So you've got 4 total, and I've managed Nunes when he didn't start. I thought, well, that's 1-0 Matt, but luckily he came on, got himself an assist. And then Wissa got a goal and some bonus points. So I've ended up with 12. So I'm 1-0 up. I'm 1-0 up so far. But early doors, but we're going into game week 10. The fact we're going into game week 10, it's an even week. That means that I get to pick my first player. And we've spoke about my player. So going into this game week, I'm looking at Arsenal. I'm looking at them playing Sheffield United. Martinelli, he's burnt me before this season, but he is 4.8% owned. He's got a goal against City. He's got a goal against Sevilla. I'm not overly confident with Jesus being out, but I'm willing to take the risk. So my first pick is Martinelli.
Yeah, I think you're the winner, man. Because I would be going for him. So, like, yeah, you've got the luck of the draw there. Let's pick the easiest fixture. Let's do Sheffield United, and I'll roll the dice and hope that he's starting up front. 4.9% owned Nketiah.
Nketiah, okay.
Added bonus, if he does play, he's going to screw your Martinelli chances, right?
No, absolutely. So that's a double win for you. Right. I did consider Nketiah as my second pick and just going all in on Arsenal. I considered Ben White. I considered Gabriel. But I'm going to spread. So my second pick, Brighton are playing Fulham at home. Fulham's defence, we discussed this last week. Fulham's defence is one of the worst in the league. They've got an expected goals conceded of 17.4, so nearly 2 goals per game. There's no Danny Welbeck. 6.7% owned. I'm going for Ferguson. I prefer Ferguson to Pedro. I'm hoping Ferguson gets the start. That's the gamble that I'm taking. But looking at the minutes, Ferguson and Welbeck seem to change minutes quite a bit. So I'm hoping with the Welbeck injury, Ferguson's going to get the nod, and I think he could do some damage against Fulham. So yeah, I'm going to go Ferguson as my second.
Okay. Is that a rule then? Like we can only pick one player from each team?
Oh no. If you want 2 Arsenal, crack on.
Yeah.
You're going Trossard.
We'll do that. Maybe that's an unspoken rule, like that. It would make it more interesting. So, March is out, isn't he? He's injured for Brighton. So, who is going to play in his position?
Yeah. Ndio, is it? What's his name?
Andingra.
Potentially.
Simon
yeah.
Andingra. I'm going to go for Simon.
He scored against Liverpool.
Yeah, he looked all right, didn't he? He's played 90 in the last 2, so he's been getting minutes throughout. I'm looking actually, 2 back-to-back 90 minutes against Liverpool and City. He got expected goal involvement of 0.4 against Liverpool, 0.2 against Man City, given to them the toughest defense. I'm really going for Simon Andingra.
Andingra it is. And what's his ownership out of interest?
Oh, let me get him up. It's going to be nothing in it.
Won't be much. Yeah, you'll be below the 5% this week, I reckon, for both.
Andingra is 0.5%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad differential at all. Yeah. I'm ruining it this week with my 6.7% Ferguson.
Yeah, next week we've got Martinelli. We might put a 5% rule in there, but I'll let you have it.
I'd already done the work prior. So we've got Martinelli and Ferguson against Nketiah and Andingra. We'll see if it can go to 1-1 or it can be 2-0 Dave. I need the lead because you'll come back. So I need the lead. Go 2-0 up.
Your picks sound a lot better, actually, yeah.
But you get to pick first next week. So we'll come on to next week in a bit. But moving on to our thoughts and what we're going to do and all that sort of jazz. So I'll start. There'll be no surprise here. My team, I'm quite happy with the team, to be honest. What I don't like about it, the fact that I'm playing Taylor doesn't feel great at all. He's bench fodder. I know Bournemouth aren't very good, but to be honest, I've got Solanke up top. I'm expecting him to get a goal. So just for the people listening, not watching, I'm currently on Areola in goal at home to Everton. I've then got Cash at home to Luton, Burn away at Wolves, Porro away at Palace, Taylor away at Bournemouth. They're the starters. Maddison and Son away at Palace in the mid, and then Salah are home to Forest with the captaincy armband. And then up top, Haaland away at United, Watkins are home to Luton, and Solanke are home to Burnley. I've kind of made my notes. I'm lucky that I've kept some money in the bank. I've got 0.9 million in there, so I am considering using both transfers. I do have 2 free transfers. And going Maddison and Castagna, who's on my bench, to a Saka and a Gabriel. Now that'll allow me to obviously start Saka. It mean I can bench Taylor and play Gabriel instead, which feels a lot better. I don't mind, and I don't mind Maddison straight to Saka and then just deal with Taylor and keep a transfer in the back pocket. But then I'm looking at next week and what I'd do with it. And to be honest, the only transfer I really want to do next week, and I know you hate this idea, but I'm going to sell Solanke. I'm set on it. I don't want him after this game week, but there's nobody else I'm looking at. So yeah. Long story short, I'm looking at the top one, Matt. Feel free to rip it apart.
I like both. I like both the top, like the first and second options. So I'd be doing one of them actually. Given the fact that you're starting Taylor isn't great, that shows that your squad is like stretched and like you can get more value. So like, the second one is Son to Saka and Bowen.
Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, it's Son instead of Maddison.
The top one is I'd do that. That's kind of clear. Yeah, no regrets on that. And Maddison,
no regrets. Keep Son
and Gabriel. Yeah, and then you played Gabriel over Taylor. Yeah, nice. Happy days.
Yeah, that's it. Gabriel will come on the pitch, Taylor on the bench with Gibbs White, and I can work it. So I'll sell Solanke for Archer in 11, and then in 12, when West Ham start to get the nice run, I'll have enough money to upgrade Gibbs White to Bowen. So I think that is potentially the route, and I'd have to go without the Brighton attacker. So that might be what I end up doing.
Yeah, I'd do that. That's clear. Like in terms of
I guess.
Yeah.
I thought the dog was coming in like a couple of weeks ago.
No, she's been sitting there the whole time since Nicole's come back in. So like, nice. I'm surprised that was a quiet entry and exit by it. So like, yeah,
fair play. But there you go. So for me, you think that top one makes the most sense?
Definitely. Yeah, easy.
Okay, that's good too. And then I've got the Saka Salah headache for captaincy, but yeah, I'll probably go Salah. We've discussed that one enough to know the reasons behind it. Yeah. Okay, on to your team. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, my notes are slim here, so you might have to expand.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, really, isn't it? So we mentioned Spurs to Arsenal. There seemed to be like a big fixture swing. So like my team looks good, though, right? So Areola, Cash, Powell, Torres, Burn, Maddison, Gordon, Son, Salah, captain in midfield, Watkins, Darwin if he does start. But I'm confident. Yeah, he's kind of like the reason why I didn't play last week was because of the international travel, and Jota is a decent replacement there as a kind of centre forward. I'm confident that he's going to kind of start there. So
on this, consider the only thing to. I mean, I agree. I think Núñez will play. Obviously, Diaz hasn't played tonight, so he's probably going to be the left wing starter. Gakpo's back in training. Now, whether we throw him straight back onto the pitch against Forest is a different matter, but Gakpo's back, so there's another potential starting striker at Liverpool now because he's back to fitness. But I agree. I think Núñez will be the start. I think you'll see him get subbed off early today, and then he'll start.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, probably where my head is at, it sounds well. Here are the options, right? So I could go Udogie to Gabriel, and then start Gabriel over Burn. I mean, Burn's got a good fixture against Wolves away, but then my defence will be Cash at Luton and Torres at Luton, and then Gabriel home at Sheffield United. There's got to be clean sheets there, right? For sure. so that's like the boring option, but like it gets me into that Arsenal defence for their like long-term fixture run, gets rid of kind of Udogie, where it's like he's not going to play on the weekend anyway. So let's see how long he has like injury concerns for. Obviously, then the big question, I've got 2 free transfers as well, is then do I get a Arsenal mid for a Spurs mid? So the options here are Maddison to Martinelli, yeah, or which I kind of probably could like if Jesus was fit, but he's not. So that kind of puts a spanner in the works for that one. And then other big one is like Son to Saka. So if I could go Maddison directly to kind of Saka and do that without a doubt.
You're talking me into it.
But like Son, there's a bit more hesitation. I could do something else. I could go because Burn has got a perfectly acceptable game. Walls away is all right. I could go Udogie down to a very cheap defender, right? I don't know how cheap I'd have to go to. I could probably get a 4.4 and then upgrade Maddison to Saka. So that's an alternative route in. But it means that I'm burning 2 free transfers just for one player. And Maddison's perfectly fine, right? So it's not like I don't have to get rid of him for Palace away. So I'm burning 2 free transfers then. And then it also does force me then to play double Villa defence. So where my head is at the moment is probably a Udogie to Gabriel swap, start Gabriel with Burn, and then just wait and see how things go with Arsenal next game week. Which is not great, but like you can't have them all. And like I couldn't keep money in the bank because my team is so stretched. Mine's like I've got 1.1 in the bank. I couldn't get for my wildcard team. I couldn't leave enough money in the bank to have that money to move Maddison to Saka. I was considering it, but like at the time as well, Saka was potentially out as well. So I was thinking like let's not plan too far ahead in that situation and kind of like we'll wait to see how things like turn out really. So if I go without Saka, I don't feel great again about it, but it's kind of one of those.
Do you line it up? Like, do you think most people might have Saka, but those people that have Saka probably don't have Darwin Núñez, so don't Nottingham Forest.
Exactly. So I don't really want to keep him, and I think I'm confident the next couple he's going to start, and you can see when he's come on, he has the best connection with Salah, and is the kind of game changer, right? He scored again tonight, and like looking at just text commentary, he seems to be the player all over, kind of getting the kind of chances as normally happens. So I mean, an option for me would be Archer in for Darwin, and then kind of like play start Udogie or Taylor. They both got fine fixtures, and then have like Saka for Maddison. But again, you're using 2 free transfers or something that
to get one.
You're getting rid of a good player as well to get one very good player, right? So I think you just got to kind of balance it out really. So I'm probably trending towards just that kind of one move, getting Gabriel in, and then it means I could be benching a clean sheet with Burn, but long term means I've got some nice fixture rotations for that kind of that defense, and then you can kind of wait to see. Like who knows? Like Saka might be injured. Arsenal didn't look good from an attacking point of view this year without Jesus at the beginning of the year, right? So we'll see. Yeah. So like I've got a few things to think about. I think I've got like probably 6 or 7 different moves that are all along those lines around how can I get in some Arsenal players, really. But nice for you because you got like a no-brainer move, which is like so good.
They're the ones I like.
Yeah. No, exactly.
They're the ones I like. It's just there's the obvious. Do it. I'm just checking because it's now 4-1, but it was Gravenberch. I was just seeing if it was a Núñez goal, but he has hit the woodwork. He hit the post a minute ago, and then Gravenberch has scored. So Núñez is, as you say, he's getting the chances. But there you go. So Udogie to Gabriel, roll your transfer, have 2 going into game week 11, reassess.
I think so. I'd love to see, like, now whilst we're talking, like a Darwin onto the bench now and Jota to stay out. That would be good.
Yeah. I think now it's 4-1. I think we'll probably start benching some players. Yeah, I think that'll happen. But we'll move on. So a bit of a different ending because we just need to address the fact that I'm not showing off, but I am going to be in Cyprus next week. So I travel to Cyprus, and I will not be. I'll be a week in the sun. So I'll probably post something just from a sun lounger with a cider in my hand, just a video of me and my thoughts. But as long as I can get you what you need, hopefully you'll have a video straight for yourself. It'll be a full episode of questions for Matt.
Yeah, make sure you write me. Yeah, make sure you write me an idiot's guide and for setting things up, and we'll see how much I can screw it up.
When that one gets 4 times the views of our normal videos, you'll just drop me and just do it yourself. Do it yourself. So, but yeah, we'll send you the cheat sheet. So hopefully, for those of you listening, hopefully there'll be a video next week straight from Matt, and then I'll put a little 5-minute to camera piece myself when I get a chance. I'll probably be half
that 5 minutes and then you boasting about Saka's massive haul, like his record haul. I hope it's like you having regret saying, "Oh, I wish I kept."
And I'll have captained them.
I wish I kept Madison here.
Yeah, fuming about Saka's 2 points of Madison's brace. That's what I'll be. That's what I know. What if that happens? I'm not even doing it. I'll just leave you to do the week.
There's a curse, though, isn't it? It's the curse of the most transferred in player. I really hope Saka's the most transferred in player, like just so he keeps that curse up.
I'm assuming he's the one, like this week, the player that's worrying you is Saka.
Yeah. I mean, Trippier probably is the big one because he just seems to everything he touches turns the kind of gold. But yeah, Saka. Well, Saka's 50% owned as well, so big ownership there. So, like, if he does well, you really are struggling. It's a nice expected goal involved anyway.
If he does well. So yeah, time will tell. But yeah, I think we all know I'll probably have him. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, but no, appreciate you joining me. Thank you for taking the reins next week and running the ship, keeping us out weekly, trying to, and I'll probably do the same when you're away on holiday and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'll put a little something on the YouTube. I might not be able to put something on the stream, the Spotify podcast. So that's all on you, Matt. No pressure. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure we'll sort it. But thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time as always. Well, best of luck for the game week.
Right. You have a good one.
Thank you very much. I'll send you some pictures from Cyprus. But you, to the listener, thank you for joining us as well. All the standard things that people on YouTube and Spotify and all that jazz say. If you enjoyed what you were listening to and we've helped you out, give us that like, give us that subscribe, so other people can find us as well. And I wish you all the best for your game week 10 plans. I'll see you properly ahead of game week 12. But you will be joined by Matt for next game week 11 next week, and we'll look forward to catching up very soon. Don't do what I'm doing now, Matt.